Hi everyone, and welcome to Two Player Quest, where I help you on your quest to find the best two-player board games for you. In today's video, we have Station to Station by Alley Cat Games. In Station to Station, you play as a train company travelling across the US. It is your job to score as many points to win the game. You can choose how you want to score these points. You could fulfill contracts, for example, or take certain routes. It's up to you. But is it a good two-player game? Well, let's find out, shall we? Station to Station is a game for 2 to 4 players that plays in 60 to 90 minutes. It's at a 2.00 for complexity on BoardGameGeek, so it is a relatively easy game. And it is a slight luck game. When you grab new routes, they can be in your favour or they can't be in your favour. It all sort of depends, but you don't have to grab new routes blindly. You can choose one of the routes that's already there. So that's why I'm calling it slight luck. This is what the board can look like at the start of a two-player game. At the bottom here, we have one player and then we have the other player at the top. Then we have the board, we have the extra tiles for later, the tile bag, the routes, and then to our right, we also have the crew board. What a player can do on their turn is shown here with this turn tracker. So you start with market. On all of these spots, you will see that there are things for sale. In this case, that is grain and wood. You can choose to buy these things from the markets. Now the cost is shown here on the market tableau. So you pay $3 for 2 grain or $3 for 2 wood, and you can buy as much as you can afford. So the starting player up there is going to buy 2 grain and 2 wood and pay 6 for it. When you buy items, you place them in your train. So you can only have a total of 7 different things, as behind here you can't have cargo. Once you've done your market phase, you can travel. You can always travel one station for free. After that, you need to pay a coal. So, as our pink player wants to move to that first blue station, it will cost them 1 coal, which is these cubes, and they travel 1, 2. Once you've travelled, you can either do the station or you can work. Now, I will show you what this station tile looks like. For this station, to fulfill this contract, you need 2 grain and 1 wood, and you would gain either 8 coin or 4 points. In this case, we're going for 8 coins. As we just paid 6 coins for the items, we have made 2 coin profit. After you fulfill a contract, which is shown with this icon on the back, you move to your player board, and depending on where you gained this contract, or you fulfilled the contract, this is where it goes on your player board. In this case, we got it in a blue zone, so we gain it in the northern region. With your tickets, you can buy crew members or a caboose. To buy a crew member, you can look at the crew member board and see which ones you can buy with the depicted icon. So we have one singular N, so we could buy that crew member, which we decide to do. So you take the crew member and refresh. The crew member is now placed below your tableau and the ticket has been discarded. All the items that you did not use, you get to keep in your train. Then comes the cleanup phase, in which you take a token from the token bag and place it where you came from. In this case, that would be Seattle. So that once again, all locations have a token. Then it is the next player's turn. Instead of taking the station token, you can also choose to work. This would gain you either 2 coal, 1 coal and 2 gold, or 5 gold. Once the token bag runs out, you add the next season's tokens. You also turn around the tokens on the board that have 2 sides. For example, this one, that changes into a better cargo. Now, these cargo trains are different from the contracts you can fulfill. These trains come to the back of your train and you can always use them. For example, this one now makes sure you always have 1 metal. Once all the tokens in the bag have been used up after the winter phase, that is the end of the game and the player with the highest points wins. I would say Station to Station is an easy game to learn. All you need is about 10 minutes and you can get going. I would say Station to Station is a good fit for people who like the puzzle of doing things, well, quote unquote, the right way. So I want to go there. If I do this in between, that will get me this amount of points or coins or items that I need to fulfill contracts later. So there is a slight part of optimization in this game, but it's not as bad as other games I have reviewed in the past. Every bit of information is general knowledge. You can see the other players' route cards. You know where they want to be, what they want to do, what they have in their bag. So you can make your plans accordingly. I would also say I very much would suggest this game to people who are starting to get into the board game hobby at the beginning. So if you've played things like Ticket to Ride and Monopoly and that sort of stuff, and you're liking board games and you want to see what else is out there that's not too complex, I would say this is a great game for those kinds of people. Because it's a wonderful game, it's not too hard, but it is just a step above the other games that you might be used to playing. We like this game. It's a good, sort of shorter, easier game that you can easily bring to the table with less experienced players. For example, we played this with my parents and they enjoyed very much. But we also played this with people who play Twilight Imperium with us. It's still enjoyable as someone who is more experienced. We like the fact that there are many ways that you can get to your points, so I usually focus a bit more on fulfilling contracts and gaining supplies. My husband sometimes focuses more on the routes. You just do what you like and try to figure out how you're going to win the game. As a two-player game, we don't like it as much. I'll get more into that into my next segment for how it plays with more, but we personally do think it is a better more-player game than two players. Station to Station is an excellent more-player game. One of the core things you can do in this game is what I like to call train hopping, where you jump over another player's train to get to where you want to go faster and basically cheaper. Now, for this, of course, you need another player to hop over, and if it's just the two of you on the big board, there's a lot less likelihood of that happening, of them being in the right spot, than with four players. On top of that, a lot of this game is about player interaction. You can do things before other players, you can get another player's way, and that's part of the fun of this game. Now, with two players, you don't have that as much. You are more focused on your own game, and if someone else happens to be there, so be it. But with four players, we really notice that you can really have fun with it. So that's why we would say it's not as good a two-player game as it is a 3 to 4 player game. And that brings us to the end of the video. Thank you so much for watching our review of Station to Station. If you have any comments, feedback or suggestions, put them in the comments below, and I look forward to seeing you next time on Two Player Quest.